Welcome to the Success Sensei podcast for anyone interested in success, happiness, and balance. We'll teach you how to be a black belt at life. And now, your host, former professional fighter, multiple world champion, entrepreneur, and investor, Robert Devane.
Bowing in, this is Roundhouse Rob, the Success Sensei, helping you to win at life one kick and punch at a time. Episode 296, Limit Regret.
It's the Success Sensei podcast main event.
Limit regret. Regret is a natural human emotion. Everybody experiences regret, obviously in differing amounts, and everybody that experiences regret can forget that everybody else also experiences regret. There's mainly two types of regret, and all regret falls into two different categories. And that is, number one, regretting doing or even regretting saying something. So regretting doing or saying something is the first type. The second type is regretting not doing or not saying something. So regretting doing something or regretting not doing something, plain and simple. Now, if you listen to the end of this, we'll talk about the best way to deal with your regret and turning a negative into a positive. But let's break down those two types of regret first of all. Now, the first one, regretting doing or regretting saying something, can in a lot of cases be a bit easier to fix. It's easier to say sorry. It's easier to apologize. It's easier to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. Is the expression, and it's true when it comes to this. Now, obviously, you can't fix every scenario, but you have a chance, you have an opportunity in a lot of cases, if you regret doing something, to simply apologize, to simply say sorry, and to simply make it up to the person. Whether it's something that you said or it's something that you've done, there is the opportunity. You can't in all cases, but there is the opportunity. Now, that type of regret eats up a lot of people, but it is something that is within your grasp to be able to rectify. Now, the second one is regretting not doing or not saying something, and really there's no fix, because there's no time machine. You can't go, it's not Back to the Future. You can't go back in time in the DeLorean and do something that you didn't do, or say something when you wanted to speak out, or you should have spoken out, or you could have spoken out. So you can't change past lack of taking opportunity by the horns, and it's something that eats at every entrepreneur, every business person. I'll give you the perfect example. Just look at, if we're talking about investing, we're talking about business, just look at crypto. Everybody has a deep regret that they didn't invest in Bitcoin right at the very start when it was worth next to nothing. Imagine the riches that you would have now. Now, that's just a monetary example. This could be anything. This could be about relationships. Obviously, it could be about business, it could be about investing, it could be about sport, it could be about hobbies, it could be about absolutely anything. A lot of people think about end of life regret. There's books written about end of life regret and reverse engineering your life in such a way that you try to reduce or diminish that regret, because everybody's always concerned about, what way, when you're looking back and you're at the end of your days, and you're in your deathbed and you're looking back at your life, what will you regret doing and what will you regret not doing? Now, I guarantee you there's going to be more in the not doing than the doing. So keep that in mind as we progress through this episode. But how will you view your goals, your failures, your successes? How have you spent your time? These will be things that will be on your mind. The opportunity cost of lost opportunities. How you didn't spend your time and what you didn't experience or try. These will be very strong emotions as you get older. I'll just say those again really quickly. You will look back at your goals, your failures and successes, how you spent your time. So you look at how you and you'll evaluate how you spent your time. You'll consider the opportunity cost of the lost opportunities that you didn't proceed with, or you didn't take, or you didn't have the bravery to give it a try. And you will think about how you didn't spend your time, all the many things that you could have been doing, and what you didn't experience or you simply didn't try. There's no need to wait for your deathbed to have a think about all this. Think about all this now and engineer your life going forward. I've had quite a few failures in my life that I could easily regret, but I don't. Well, that's not strictly true. I don't fully regret. I have a little regret, but I don't fully regret them. And yes, they are failures, but the reason why I don't fully regret them is because I tried them and they didn't work, and I got them out of my system. I would have attempted these things sooner or later. So the sooner I failed, if I had to fail, which I did, the better, because, it would have, if I delayed starting the things, if I delayed the risk, it could have had worse consequences. Things could have been a bit tougher. There's more people reliant on me now, I have responsibility over more people now, and I might have risked things on their behalf. So I don't have the regret because I was going to do these things. I was going to do the things. And if they were going to fail, it was better that they did when they did as opposed to later on. So if I had delayed starting or taking the chance on something, I would have done it at some stage in my life. So I'm quite happy with the timing. Now, obviously, if you could completely erase any past failures, it's a nice fantasy, it's a nice thought, but you have to remember, people are often asked the question, if they had a magic wand and they could take away any of your previous tough or hurtful or negative experiences, now not completely traumatic stuff, now we're talking about, the run-of-the-mill hardships and failures and negativity. If somebody could take away that from your life, would you actually let them? Because would you even be the same person that you are today? Would you have the strength of character, the strength of physicality, if it wasn't for the hardships that you managed to endure and either overcome or pivot and get past? So that's one to think about. So therefore, you shouldn't put so much weight in the regret of past failures. That's all easier said than done. But how do you deal with regret? Well, basically you use it. So if you're struggling with a goal or with a plan or with an ambition or with a set of actions, ask yourself, will my future self regret doing this, or will my future self regret not doing this? And your answer determines how you proceed. It's not the way a lot of people think about their goals, but this is a brilliant way to do it, especially when you've got procrastination and you're unsure which direction to go. If you ask yourself, will you regret doing it or will you regret not doing it? It's going to answer your course of action. So if your future self will regret it, consider delaying your plans, consider rethinking or completely changing your strategy. If your future self will regret not doing it, obviously excluding potential failure, because you don't know if you're going to succeed or not, so you have to take that in as part of the evaluation. But if your future self will regret not doing it, including if it could potentially fail, then you've given yourself no other option than to go for it, to give it a go. What's keeping you? There's no need to procrastinate any further. Learn from a fail and simply adjust your path. It's all experience. It's impossible to prevent all regret. It is a human emotion. And yes, you can reduce it by considering all your large plans and really thinking things through. You can try to limit as much regret as possible by using the simple strategy above. Will my future self regret doing this, or will my future self regret not doing this? However, you can also learn from regret and use that to drive you forward. While regret can be a negative emotion, the fear of regret can counter worse emotions. So the fear of regret can drive you through and over the fear of failure, the fear of success, imposter syndrome, and even guilt. So it's not all a bad thing depending on how you're utilizing your mindset. I hope that's given you something to think about. Be good to yourself, stay positive, and continue to positively shape your future. Thank you for listening. I'm Roundhouse Rob, the Success Sensei. Life is a fight you can enjoy and win. Bowing out.
This has been the Success Sensei, fighting the winning fight. So add us, subscribe, like, and comment. Keep those hands up and keep moving forward.